Shout out First Round Potential Pride. Like, comment, subscribe. Shout out First Round Potential Podcast. Roll up. Appreciate it. Love, brother.
Shit, shout out First Round Potential. Subscribe and like.
Let's go, baby. Love, Rick.
First Round Potential. You know, like, comment, subscribe, man. What's going up?
Show love.
Us against the world, you know what's happening. For the members, you know I spin again. You know we got it poppin', it's me and my twin. We pay the price just to live this life. So many nights, Miss Patron with the ice.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of First Round Potential. I am your host, Tomo, and I got my co-host with me, Wavy. Talk to him, brother. How you doing today?
Yes, sirski. We back with another banging video for y'all, man. And we got a little bit of drama going on right here today.
Yeah.
And we got to touch on it for y'all. So, man, what's good?
I'm chilling, bro. So, drama, is it a positive thing? Is it a negative thing? Let's talk about it right now, brother. So, Nico, Iamaleava, Tennessee starting quarterback, went into negotiations. He said, I need to up that NIL pay. I'm getting paid $2 million as a starting quarterback for the University of Tennessee. Remember, he was one of the first high school kids to get a deal coming out of high school, too. And he was like, yeah, I need that to up. You know, I need about $4 million. I think he was asking for around $4 million. And he went into contract negotiations. He practically held out. Typically what NFL players do, they hold out to them contract talks is better or over. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, they come to agreements and they back on the field. So he held out a spring ball, I think this past Friday. And then going into the weekend, coming yesterday, we got the news broke that the head coach, Josh Heupel, he said, yeah, I think it's best if we part ways. What's your thoughts on it, bro? What's your thoughts on this actually happening? Do you think this was a good thing for college football as far as Nico? From the player perspective, what's your thoughts on it?
Definitely understand, you know, especially if he did his research and checked around the market and see what other quarterbacks have been getting paid, let alone this dude took his team to the playoffs on top of that. So, you know, it was only, I think, fair for him to, you know, at least consider it. You know what I mean? If he felt like, you know, he deserved a little more from what he was getting. And, you know, just like I said before, reviewing the market, seeing what other top QBs are being paid. You know, it's just unfortunate that, you know, they couldn't come to an agreement. But like you said, it's kind of similar to the pros. So we got to kind of expect things like this to start occurring, especially with the NIL and the portal and stuff like that. So, I mean, it sucks, but at the end of the day, he's a top quarterback, arguably one of the best quarterbacks that's in college football right now. So, I mean, some team gonna get him and pay him what they feel he deserves and what he thinks he deserves. So even when we talked about Ohio State, you know, paying everybody around them to keep that team together to win a national championship, and then just looking at what Deion just did recently with his contract at Colorado and making sure everybody around him was paid to keep that thing up and going. So
yeah. I agree 1,000%. I think he should have I don't think there's nothing wrong with, they're getting paid at the end of the day. So when you're getting paid, it's typically contracts involved, whatever the case may be, right? So I don't think it's wrong that he actually went into, if I'm not mistaken, there was reports that they went into contract negotiations a little bit after the season. So it's been talked about all the way up until, I guess, this past weekend, right?
Right.
Where we, as fans, got the news that this was happening on Friday, and then, you know, Saturday the news broke that, you know, they was parting ways. But I think this was, it's absolutely nothing wrong. He's playing in one of the top conferences in college football, which is the SEC. Right?
Mhm.
In all honesty, Nico is honestly the trendsetter when it comes to this type of stuff because he was one of the first to be paid out of high school at
Yeah.
in the $1 million range. He was one of those guys, and now he's one of the guys that went into contract negotiations with a holdout, you
Mhm.
should say, and asking to be paid a little bit more. Now, I know to the Tennessee fans, this may not be the best news, right? They may think right now at this moment, like whatever, get him out of here. I don't care. He didn't win us nothing, right?
Right.
That's what they thinking. But when it's all said and done, they definitely got to go back and look because he's not going to be the first kid to do this or the
Mm-mm.
last kid to do this. And but he definitely was the first. And unfortunately, the Tennessee fans get the short end of the stick because they losing a starting quarterback that took them to the college football playoffs. He may not have performed to the standard that they probably had for him,
Right.
but let's not forget that was his first year starting as a true starter. He
Right.
started the bowl game the previous year and won MVP and stuff like that. So the expectations for Nico last year was through the roof, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, you got to understand that this is a quarterback we're talking about. Okay, this is a quarterback
QB.
position is top tier when it
The
comes to
face
college
of the
football.
program, basically.
It's the face of the program. So, in all honesty, man, I think it's good and bad in a way, and I think it's good because the players should know their value. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Want to be paid their value. But in another sense, it is bad because in a sense, it does. We got to focus on football at the end of the day. And football can get lost when it comes to college kids and getting
Mhm.
to that level. You could lose the game. You could lose the love for the game because you're too focused on the money part of it.
Chasing the bag,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And this financial advisors is other people who are part of your team that could like push you in different directions and stuff like that. But it
Mhm.
got to be a mediator somewhere in the middle that kind of gets everybody on the same page, lead the athlete out of it, let him deal with football, and y'all focus on all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I guess
Yeah.
that's another thing that could be talked about. Now with that being said, Nico in the portal.
He
And
gone.
now he finna be one of the top, if not the top guy in the portal right now.
Yeah, he will
Um,
be for sure, hands down.
and he's gonna have probably how many teams in the NCAA?
Well, 2.
Yeah, he gonna have all of them. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well,
and I think some of the top dogs could use a quarterback. Ohio State, USC, Notre Dame. Uh, Shoot, I don't think Georgia is too solidified with where they at.
that's true.
It's a ton of different programs that can bring in a Nico, and it
With the
can make a huge
resources, for
difference
sure.
with the resources, with the skill position players. Because this coming season, if he would have stayed in Tennessee, I would have been a little light at the receiver position. I'm just
Mhm.
telling you that now because most of his guys gone. So what do you think is some possible destinations? Or give me your top 3 for Nico that you think he should be at, or tell me where you think he gonna end up. Yeah, just tell me where you think he should end up. What you think is the best fit for him?
Hmm. I do like the thought of Georgia,
Okay.
and then they just got Zachariah, you know what I mean? So, and they
Yeah.
had a couple other pieces around them too, so I
Hmm.
do think, him going to Georgia would be ideal to get back to the playoffs, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
If that's still something, he wants to keep in mind.
Okay.
I wouldn't leave Oregon out the question. He's a California kid, so being back on the West Coast, I think probably spike his interest, considering Oregon and you know,
Okay.
all the pieces they got.
All right.
And then where I think he might go, I don't know. But then again, you never know. Ohio State, like you were saying, need a quarterback, but
Mhm.
I just don't see them going after him right now, just because they got Julian Saying and it's high expectations on him right now. So
Okay.
I don't know. I'm
Okay.
really curious to see how all this plays out
Yeah.
because he's a top quarterback. So, anything can happen. Anybody can, reach
Yeah.
out and be like, hey, come in, compete.
Mhm. Yeah. I think it's about fit too. So I think the right program. I mean, some programs might just throw the bag, be like, hey, I don't care if it's the right fit or not. Let's make it work. You know what I'm saying? Not only because the amount of press he'll bring to that program, but just having a starting quarterback from the SEC, come in, uh, no matter what you say, it's gonna put eyes on that program. So, in my case, I think Nico is a California kid, like you said. I don't think Oregon will be in that that
Conversation.
top, yeah, them conversations and stuff like that, only because
Yeah.
they got Dante Moore, and then they got a few other guys that they locked in on. And but I think he would. I think if I give you a top three, I would say USC, UCLA will fall in there just because he a Cali kid, and then I'm sure he want to win. So uh, I I could see Notre Dame maybe, and then also North Carolina as well. But well, I would probably like to see him. I think going back home, I think USC is like the perfect fit for him.
Yeah.
And because I mean, it's everything there, the money there, everything is there. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I think he got some wide outs over there, even though they lost Zachariah. He still got Malachi Lemon, and a few other guys over there. I forget Jacoby Lane. They got a few guys, you know what I'm saying, that they could plug and play with over there. So he got weapons over there as well. So but then again, that is the Big Ten conference. So he going to
What?
arguably the best, conference in college football. So I think I like to see him at, like I said, I like to see him at USC. I think that'll probably be the best fit for him. But we don't know. Let's just sit back and see what happens. But
Yeah, for
I
sure.
I tell you one thing. The biggest question is, did he get that 4 million he was asking for? Everybody gonna be talking about that. So
Mhm.
if he get in that range, if he get 3.5 or 3.8 or whatever the case may be, did
What?
he get in that range that he was asking for? And if he get that money, all eyes is going back to Tennessee to like, why didn't y'all pay him? Because y'all don't got nobody better than him on that roster. So that's gonna be good to
What?
see.
Yeah.
Good to see whether it's, that's gonna be what everybody gonna be looking for. Not so much of what team. Of course, that's always the glitz and glamour what team is gonna be, but
Right.
in all reality, people are gonna be seeing like, okay, did they really pay him? Because if they did pay him, you're gonna see a lot more kids do that because now I'm like, okay, you don't want to pay me? Say no more. I go over to so and so, Purdue or whatever, whoever gonna give me
Mhm.
that bag, I'm gonna go get that money from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be the biggest question, I feel like. And then so yeah, man. Overall, I think it was a good learn. I think it's a good thing, but
Right.
it could be a negative thing too. Because people could take it to the point where Nico not focused on football and stuff like that. But I think he
Right.
got a full. I think he got a team of people around him that that's not um, that understands. You focus on football. Let us focus on this. You are marketable, so let's get the most money
Right.
we can get. You just focus on football and get that done. So some other news, man, that just broke, kind of sad news for a lot of people. LSU receiver, former receiver, Kyren Lacy, was pronounced dead last night in Houston
Mm.
at home. Not sure exactly what happened there, but man, just in my thoughts, I know he was going through a lot, but prayers to his family. Uh, I know that's not easy, man, and just losing somebody
Right.
and let alone losing somebody that could possibly change the dynamics of your family and stuff like that, it hit even harder. You know what I'm saying? And I know everything is not about, money and stuff like that, but you know, at the end of the day, when you coming from poverty, um, you need a boost. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And you need a ticket, and Kyron was that ticket probably for his family. I'm not, I don't want to say he was exactly that ticket. I'm sure they probably got other kids in his family that could be that as well. But he was right there, to achieving his dreams, and I know his family didn't want nothing more other than him to do exactly that. So, prayers and thoughts out to his family. What's your take on it? They say they don't understand what happened just yet, but I did see some suicidal things that they were saying,
Right.
and hopefully that's not the case. But what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, hopefully it's not the case, man. Condolences to the family, friends and family. Just a sad situation, man. You
Mhm.
just never know, what
Yeah,
somebody going through mentally. So, you know what I mean? It's always good to just check on friends, family, if you think or, feel like something's off about them and whatnot, just have that conversation, check on them, make sure they
mhm.
doing all right because you just never know what somebody going through
Yep. True.
internally versus what they reflecting on the outside. So
Mhm.
yeah, man, just an unfortunate situation. And we just gotta continue to pray.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, man, that'll do it, man. Any closing thoughts? That's gonna wrap up the show for today. Any closing thoughts you got, man, about Nico, Kyren, everything that going on in college football right now?
Yeah, just to touch back on Nico when you said the whole USC and Notre Dame. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking that those two might be the best fits. One of those two, USC or
Yeah,
Notre Dame,
yeah,
especially to get back to the that college football
mhm,
playoff level of competing. So
yep,
just touch back on that. But yeah, other than that, man, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. Continue
so
like, comment, subscribe, and let's keep rocking out.
let's keep rocking.
Us against the world, you know what's happening. For the members, you know I spin again. You know we got it poppin', it's me and my twin. We pay the prices to live it.